Ever since I started playing Brawlhalla, I haven't eaten, haven't gone out, worked out, or even showered at all. I just lost track of time altogether. It's just, I don't know what to do anymore. It has taken complete control of my life. What? What? How did that?
Player 2 win.
How did that happen? In all seriousness, how is Brawlhalla from the perspective of a newbie who has been playing the game for 50 hours according to Steam? Brawlhalla at first glance appealed to me because having came from MMO where the genre itself no longer prioritizes PvP, nor is it in a good state at the moment. I wanted something to fill that void, and I was looking at fighting games to do just that. I also had to make sure there was a healthy population within that game because a PvP game with stale to a declining players population is just a recipe for disaster in the long run. Considering I didn't want to make any rash decision, Brawlhalla seemed like a pretty safe choice since it's free to play. So there's no harm in trying it, and I gotta say, it has been an intense, fast-paced experience so far with mostly positive feedbacks from me at the moment. So let's talk about the intricacy of Brawlhalla. Before I dive into this game based on my first 50 hours of playthrough, do keep in mind these thoughts aren't final considering I'm pretty new to the game and will more than likely change or will have to be updated later on as I play more of the game. So do keep that in consideration, and especially when I begin my rank crusade. First thing first, yes, with any game, especially one centered around players versus player, it is going to harbor some level of childish, immature, toxic, whatever you want to call it, behavior. Though I do think the word toxic has been thrown around a lot, it's hard to even decipher exactly what it means anymore, but there are going to be people who are going to go out of their way to try to taunt you and engage in their miserable banter, and of course, you should not be minding these people at all and going about your day to continue play the game and just have fun. Just forget about them entirely. This isn't really exclusive to Brawlhalla though, because pretty much every game that has a PvP mode of sort will attract certain trolls and aids. It is what it is. Best to keep your mind stable. And really, if you're a grown person, there's nothing to gain from purposely trying to put someone down. It's one thing for two people if you guys knew each other to some degree and are just competing against one another for the purpose of friendly rivalry. But it's a different story if you're just being a complete a-hole to a stranger, especially if they take it the wrong way. And I mean, there's nothing to gain from aggravating them. Just do keep that in mind when you get into Brawlhalla, and I'm sure it only gets worse as you go on. From my personal experience, when I was streaming or playing the game, I only ever had people coming into the stream to be either extremely helpful or just very chill. And regardless of the fact that these players were just way out of my league, we had a lot of fun just duking it out, whether that was 1v1 or doing an all-out brawl. Again, I haven't played ranked, so I don't know how that scene goes. I'm sure it's even worse, but still, I would persist on not letting people taunt you and engage in pointless banter with them. As a new player, you may find yourself spamming certain tags, especially your heavy tags, as that was really the case for me. I started off by getting myself a little bit familiar with the characters and movements in the training mode, and then went on to repeatedly fight computers in the tournament, which I'll be honest, after the first few attempts, they do become too predictable and they're quite easy to outplay, so I went on ahead to compete in Strikeout 1v1 afterward, which puts you against random player. It's really the next best thing to do after tournaments, since it is in rank, so there's no harm in giving it a try. I came across players of all skills from low to high. Some are just insanely good in Strikeout, and I've been doing this mode for the most ever since I started playing Brawlhalla. It is both fun and sometimes exhausting, especially when the matchmaking puts you against someone completely out of your league. I mean, there are certain players that are just insanely, they must have had years of experience, but that's expected of the territory, and I don't mind the pressure to adapt and improve during the matches, which the higher skill the player that I'm against, the faster I'm able to adapt, so I don't mind it too much. But yeah, don't get me wrong, there are certain players that will just abuse certain combos or characters, and it does become quite an aid. There are a few people who will constantly spam certain attacks or abuse gadgets by picking them up, throwing them, catching them back, only to rinse and repeat. In the eyes of a newcomer, that tactic is definitely one of the more annoying things to deal with, because you've only just begun to familiarize yourself with your movements, dodges, and combos, so to go against someone who constantly throws stuff at you, it does get frustrating at times, but try not to let that burn you out quickly. With that in mind, Brawlhalla can be extremely fun for anyone wanting a fighting game centered around, well, just fighting. But this is specifically a platform fighting as opposed to your more traditional martial art based fighting like, let's say, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, or Tekken. Now, let's get back to this game being sweaty because, oh boy, I am not lying when I say that, because I don't think I ever found my palm to get this sweaty before I got into Brawlhalla. And there were times where I had to pause and just wash my hand and wipe them fresh before starting a new match. Though I do think that's dialed down just a bit now that I got a bit better control of my character, still that was quite the experience, I'll tell you that. Now, Brawlhalla does have microtransaction in the forms of skins and really only cosmetics, so there's no need to spend any real money because you can pretty much buy all the original characters with coins you gain from just playing and accomplishing goals. As far as my first thoughts go, it is very positive for this game, and I do recommend it if you're looking for a free game that not only has a fun PvP but also very well polished and relatively easy to get into. Brawlhalla is a game that initially comes off as a product that manages to stand the test of time 10 years later. There is no harm in trying it since it is free to play and you have nothing to lose except time. Whether or not you want to stay for the long term or just have fun for a short period is up to you. So make your choice, people. Alright people, with that being said, I do hope you enjoyed the video. Consider subscribing, leaving a comment or a like, and I do hope to see you again next time.